organization of the international agencies, the United Nations, the World Bank, the Organization of American States, the Inter-American Development Bank, and so on and so on and so on. Those are the 4 pillars. Recently, as we postponed the local government elections in Parliament, we made it clear that it was pointless going to the polls at this time under a system that has been acknowledged as being dysfunctional, a system of local governance that has not met with the aspirations of our citizens, a system of local governance that has not been able to deliver what the people expect of it. And therefore, and particularly, as we are so close now to the end of our review of local governance, the PNM thought that the best thing to do at this time was to postpone the elections for 1 year. Put the new system of local government in place to the extent that you could put it in place in the time available. And then, my dear friends, go to the polls under different circumstances and with different arrangements. This time, with a system of local governance that is much more likely to meet with the aspirations of the people and deliver services to you consistent with what you expect of a proper governance system. That was the reason. That was the reason. The PNM is not afraid of anybody. I noticed they're saying that, you know. The PNM is afraid of this one and that one. The PNM fears no one. We will tackle them wherever they come, my dear friends. We will tackle them in the east. We will tackle them in the west. We will tackle them in the north. Wherever they come, the PNM is not afraid. So let them enjoy themselves while it lasts. Last week when we spoke, remember what we said? We said that local government reform was a part of the overall reform of the public sector, public service reform. Remember that? We also said that there were certain functions that were best handled centrally rather than in a decentralized way. And that the system that we use here was dictated largely by the size of our population, a population of 1.3 million people, as opposed to London, which has a population, this is London, not England, London, with a population of about 7.5 million, a different system of governance. The system of governance to which we subscribe is dictated largely by the size of our population. We agreed that in centralizing some of the functions, there were 2 examples that we used. One was water distribution as mandated by the World Bank after independence in 1962. And the second one, my dear friends, the second one was tax collection of taxes, which by way of the new Revenue Authority will begin to do centrally from January 2010. You remember all of that? There are others. We don't have to go into all the details at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, we indicated that some of the functions, therefore, that had been performed by local government in the past will now be performed by the central government, in particular the collection of rates and taxes. Remember? Street lights, we agreed last week that that was best handled by one agency, TNTech, and therefore that has been put to TNTech, no longer being handled by local government. And the question that now arises is, what will be the responsibility of the local government bodies? What will be the local government bodies called upon to do? So you ready for your education this evening? The areas of responsibility of local government. First and foremost, the maintenance of all public sector buildings not under the control of other agencies. That's a new responsibility. That's a new responsibility that we are giving to local government. The San Fernando City Corporation will not be responsible for maintaining the San Fernando Hospital. The Ministry of Health under the RHAs, they say about that. The San Fernando City Corporation will not be responsible for maintaining the schools in the city of San Fernando. That is being handled by a particular state enterprise set up for that purpose. But the government buildings, the buildings housing the Ministry of Education, the buildings, my dear friends, housing the government departments, the San Fernando City Corporation, under this new arrangement, will be responsible for the maintenance of those buildings, a new responsibility. Local government bodies will be responsible for monitoring the execution of works by state enterprises, statutory corporations, and public sector agencies as prescribed. A very important responsibility that the local government bodies can now carry out is to meet with all the other, well, not all, but some of the other agencies as we consider appropriate, and ensure that they do what they say they will do. Take the HDC, for example. It might well be that at the beginning of the year, the local government bodies meet with the HDC and ask them, well, what programs you intend to carry out this year? They say, well, we will build 100 houses here, 300 there, 200. And they said, okay, we are going to monitor it. And as the local government bodies monitor it, if things begin to go off, the local government bodies will now have the responsibility of drawing that to the attention of the central government, and that we can begin to intervene and act long before trouble breaks out, so that you can get delivery more on time. That is currently the case. It's a new responsibility. Imagine what the implication of that is for street lights and so on and so on. Just think about it. Third responsibility: provision and maintenance of local recreational facilities. That is not a new one, but it is an area where roles have been clarified. The local recreational grounds will be the responsibility of the local government. The regional grounds and the national grounds will be the responsibility of the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs. So it's a clear delineation of responsibilities. And as the local government bodies are now responsible for all local grounds, then they have a responsibility to put arrangements in place to ensure that they can discharge that function properly. Landscaping and beautification of communities, a new responsibility, my dear friends. Landscaping and beautification of communities. This is how they're going to do it. You start off with a plan, and you say, okay, this is the community. Let us take the community of Monrepo, the community of Monrepo. They look at the community of Monrepo, they bring in the experts, and the experts say, okay, what we want to do, we want to landscape here, level here, we have a mound of dirt and so on. We plant grass, we plant whatever has to be planted. And that we are able to maintain it now by mechanical means, not just weed whackers, not by weed whackers alone, but by other mechanical means that causes a high level of production and productivity. And as local government bodies take the responsibility for that, they can go right through the areas for which they are concerned. They can level land, landscape as they consider appropriate and in accordance with the directives of the experts in this field, and maintain your communities and give your communities a much better look, which among other things has the effect of lifting your spirits as you live in societies that are much more pleasing. Another responsibility of the local government bodies will be the establishment and management of burial grounds, crematoria, and cremation sites. That is not new, so it need not detain us. Ensuring the distribution of water in areas where there is no pipe-borne supply. We have now decided that wherever there is no pipe-borne supply of water, the water distribution will be managed not by the Water and Sewage Authority, but by the local government bodies, which have a better understanding of the local areas, which understand it well, especially in circumstances where we know that in some instances, some of these water shortages are contrived. You know that story? You know it? And the local government bodies really will be overseeing that and able perhaps to better identify what is genuine and what is not. But at any rate, whether genuine or otherwise, intervene to ensure that the citizens get a chock-borne water supply. Another new area is the provision of community policing. And let's spend a minute on that, my dear friends. Community policing. The local government bodies will now have a much expanded police service, much expanded, significant numbers, and they will take responsibility for policing in the community under their control. The local government bodies will have